and is much more than just a data formatting tool. It is a sophisticated payment management tool giving you clear visibility and control over payment batches being generated. Rich in functionality and security controls, B4B easily and robustly caters for today's local and global banking requirements, including the complexities of the bank details held within B4B, and then produce an output file ready for import to your bank. So I've already processed a number of transactions. I'm just going to add another transaction to this batch using the standard transaction entry functionality. So I'm going to add another invoice transaction for Ace Travel and post that. So now I'm going to build a batch of those payables transactions. Again, using standard functionality within Great Plains, I'm going to build a US dollar payment batch. I'm going to select my checkbook, which in this case is Uptown Trust. Transactions. And here I've got now a number of transactions in the batch ready for processing. So at this point we could edit the check batch, we could review those transactions, remove transactions from the batch and so on. But here I'm just going to go ahead and process my batch and post those payments within Great Plains. So now the transactions are being posted to the Great using a single sign-on, so an authenticated login directly from within Great Plains to launch B4B. Then once we're logged into B4B, user group permissions are applied to control exactly what that user can do, so what business units or companies they can see, and then what payment modules they can use against those companies and what functions they extract the payments that we've just posted in Great Plains. So there's a runtime parameter here we need to consider, and this is a maintenance feature of B4B where we can clear down any zero value or voided transactions from the EFT payment table. So there's none have been encountered in this case, but we can set that to yes here. And that will then enable the extract and the validate options. And the recommendation is we validate the batch first. And by validating, it allows us to identify if there are any problems with any of the payments we're trying to process. So most commonly those problems would be the bank details for the creditor are missing, they're invalid, there's something wrong with them, or if we're using the approval module in B4B, then the bank details may be pending approval. So I'm going to validate the batch. And here you can see that an error was encountered during this process. And it gives me an exception report detailing exactly the nature of that error. So I have some payments here for this creditor. A number of invoices have been generated within Great Plains and paid. However, in B4B, the bank details are pending approval. The system is also giving me a list of the valid payments that will be processed. So all these payments were successfully validated. But of course, I should really go and now look at that bank detail record that was pending approval. I'm going to log in as a different user to demonstrate the approval portal to you. So a different set of permissions based on this user's group, and this user has access to the approval module in B4B. And we're going to be looking at approving this creditor bank detail record. So here's the pending approval request that was raised by a user. It was an amendment. We can see here the reason for the change that the user entered. And the approver can then drill down, view the bank detail record in its entirety, and actually query the audit data. So here I can see exactly the details before the change and the new routing code that it was changed to. So within B4B, we can enforce this approval layer around the maintenance of what is very sensitive information, your banking details. So here I'm going to go ahead and approve these changes to maintain a fully synchronized system between the master set of bank details in B4B and your bank detail cards within Great Plains. So let's log back in as my payables user, and we'll go back to our extract function, and I'll validate the batch again. And we can validate over and over until we're satisfied that all the payments will be processed as we need them to be. So here this time no errors were encountered, and it's gone straight through to the payment report. And here we can see the creditor ID, the creditor name, the bank account number that we're going to pay to, the invoices that we're going to pay in this batch. And of course at the bottom we get some totals showing exactly what's been accepted. So no errors or warnings were found, and 8 payments have passed our validation. So we know that everything that we posted in the batch in Great Plains will be successfully extracted into B4B. And it's at this point we can go ahead and run the extract. So the extract gives me a very similar looking report. And if we're keeping a paper trail, this is the report you'd normally print out to show exactly the payments that have been pulled into B4B. So no errors or warnings were found, and now 8 payments have been created, and here they've been mapped into our US ACH payment format. So the final step for the payables user is to simply return to the main menu, and we're going to create the bank file. So we need to put in some runtime parameters around this particular bank file creation. So we can specify the value date, the execution date. Here we can construct a payment description that will be passed through onto the beneficiary's bank statement. So we can include a fixed text and maybe the invoice numbers relating to the payment. So the beneficiary has a full understanding of who it's come from and what the payment relates to. So here we can give the bank file a name, put in our own reference, and some additional runtime parameters here relating to this format. And you can see B4B also has the ability to create PGP encrypted output. So if you're a robust form of data transfer. So we'll validate the parameters and then simply create the bank file. So here our file was produced, in this case in the US ACH format, in the designated folder, and 8 records have been processed. And we get one final report from B4B showing exactly the transactions that were included in this bank file. So the creditor ID, the bank account we're paying, and the invoice details relating to the payment. And here we can also have B4B create a remittance document, and at this point have it directly emailed out to the beneficiary. So not only are we paying our beneficiaries using electronic funds transfer, we can also notify them directly using an emailed remittance document. So here a number of remittance documents have been created, and if my email system was enabled, then we'd see the email address it had been sent to here in this line. The remittance document in B4B require a more sophisticated and customized remittance document. Then Professional Advantage have a solution dedicated for that called Email Pro that can take your Dynamics remittance document and email that out to your creditor. So that completes the end-to-end payables process, and you can see for the payables user it's a very simple process of extracting payments that you've posted within Great Plains and then creating the bank file ready for submission to your bank. For a full-length video presentation of B4B showing you all the features and functionality, visit YouTube and search B4B for Microsoft Dynamics GP. And for further details, visit our website at www.professionaladvantage.co.uk.